we're at a big wide open yard, and since I do have a little bit of time on this run, not much but a little, I thought I would share with you one of the things that I figured out fairly early on in trucking. For one reason or another, I have no idea why, Schneider's training, as wonderful as it was and as good as it was and comprehensive as it was, the one thing that was a glaring omission in training, one of the things that they did not teach us, was how to do a 90-degree back. That is something that is a mandatory skill when you drive a truck, and you figure that out very quickly, because you'll come into a lot of places where the space is way too tight to do the traditional 45-degree backing that Schneider and many other places teach. So why they don't teach you how to do a 90 is beyond me. Maybe it has something to do with some insurance liability crap, who knows. But I figured out just on my own, because I worked out of that Walmart DC, and every now and then when I would come back with a little time on my clock, and especially at night where there was very little going on because everybody was already out delivering the overnight runs, I just went out there before I would drop my trailer and I would practice and figure out a method on how to do a 90-degree back. And what I figured out was a little something that I call a 7-trailer method. And what the 7-trailer method is, and it's an easy number for me personally to remember because 7 is my number that I always had in sports when I was a little kid. So I go from the space that I want to back up into. Now off to my left is space 115, and that's where we need to drop this trailer. And I count 7 trailers. It's really that simple. So let's go ahead and do that. Here's the spot that I want to park in. Now notice how far away I am from this row of trailers. The reason I'm this far out is, number one, I have room, so I'm taking advantage of it. Number two, my tandems are pretty much all the way forward, which means that when I turn that pivot point, let's say my fingers are the wheels, when that trailer starts to turn, that back end is going to start swinging. And you got to compensate for that swing. You got to give room here for that trailer to swing around towards this row of trailers. If my tandems were all the way in the rear, I could get closer, because then there's very little overhang that you have to worry about swinging around. So that's why I'm this far out. So let's count Swifty here as 1, and we got 2, empty space is 3, Swift is 4, empty space is 5, Swift is 6, and the Schneider intermodal container is 7. So I'm going to pull up to where my left shoulder is about, I don't know, halfway in the middle kind of the face of that trailer. Good starting point. The reason I like doing it this way, and there's a zillion ways to do things in trucking, okay? So everybody's got a method and a trick and all that stuff. I'm not saying I'm like Mr. Super Trucker and mine is the only way, because it most certainly isn't. All it is something that I figured out for myself, and it has proved invaluable for me. I've taught it to a couple of different drivers, and they've all really liked it too and appreciated it. And the reason why I personally like it is because you don't have to be dead on accurate the first time. Like right now, like I said, I'm lining up my shoulder on the left to about midway point on this trailer. And we're gonna see how that lines up. So the beauty is, if I'm too far beyond the space or not far enough, I'm gonna find out real quick when I start turning. So what I do now, I put it in reverse, I turn the wheel, I don't move, I turn the wheel all the way to the right. Now remember, I talked about the distance from these trailers. The reason you also want to have distance is because you'll notice the nose of the tractor is going to swing straight at those trailers. So you need to give yourself room. So now I'm holding the steering wheel all the way to the right and just letting that trailer start bending. And I want to come to a complete 90-degree angle, tractor to trailer. And now I'm looking at where my tandems are. And I am not far enough forward. I can see it already. I don't know if you can see that in the camera, but the pivot point are the tandem tires. And they're too far forward. So I'm in the almost at the middle of that Swift trailer. So I don't need them to be turning there. I need them to be turning farther back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go straighten myself up again. This is the beauty of doing it this way, because I haven't moved the steering wheel. So as I come back to straight, I'm going to be pretty much right exactly where I started from when I began. So boom, here we are, and my left shoulder is dead on in the middle with that trailer. So here we are right where we started. So now I noticed that my tandems were a good 4 or 5 feet too far this way, too far beyond the space. So now I'm still in I put it into reverse, and I can see a shadow on the pavement there. So now I'm just going to go straight back. That's probably good right about there. And now I'm going to try it again, all the way to the right. And we're going to swing. And we're going to see how it goes. Now this is actually easier to do when your tandems are all the way in the back, but mine are all the way forward. So this is the hardest way to do this actually, because you have to account for all of that trailer swing on the back. But now it looks like it's lining up nice. So now I'm 90 degrees, trailer to tractor. Make sure you don't snap your aerodynamics off. Now go all the way to the left and start trying to get back under the trailer. Now you see how the pivot is going there? And see how that overswing of the trailer is starting to get close to that PTL trailer. It's going to start swinging back. And my damn reverse gear driving me insane. So I'm going to check it right here, because I don't know where that back end of that trailer is. I want to make sure I'm not hitting that PTL. Be right back. We are coming in just fine. As far as that PTL is concerned, I'm probably going to have to straighten it out again a little bit, because I think my pivot is actually a little too close to Swift, but we'll find out here in a second. But from this point, you can just kind of guide the trailer in, just watching, as you normally would. Just watch your tandem, see where they're at. Now I'm swinging in real nice there. Cut it a little more, because I just want to make sure I'm not hitting that trailer. That's the name of the game, kids. You don't have to be fast. You don't have to be pretty. But you do have to make sure you don't hit anything. Let's see how we're getting in there now. I'm probably going to have to pull up a little bit, but we'll see. Yeah, it's not going to come back around quick enough. So I'm going to straighten out now, and we'll be absolutely straight. Ready to put it all the way back in there. There we go. So, like I said, it's it's not the only way to do things for sure. It's a way I figured out on my own, and it has been a really great tool for me. As you can see, it's kind of fail-proof, because again, if you're not perfect the first swing in, just correct it. Just go back forward, get yourself straight. You're going to be right back to the point where you first started swinging, and then you can either move forward or backward and line yourself up better. And that's the key part of doing it this way, is that that first swing, you see if you're on or not. And if you're not, you can go right back to where you started, exactly like to the inch of where you started, and make a correction. So you can see if your tandems, like my tandems, were 4 or 5 feet too far beyond the space. So when I straightened up, I backed the truck up straight 4 or 5 feet, and then did it again and got in. So that's where it has worked really well for me. So hopefully that helped you guys.